Welcome, lovelies. Thanks for joining Hearthside Story Corner. Today we will be continuing our voyage together with Birdling in part 3 of The Cruise of the Little Dipper by Susanne Langer. So sit back and enjoy this animated story with me. But just before it was time to go out, he stopped shrinking and saw to his great relief that he was still a good inch taller than the bumblebee. He sat down with surprise, his hands on the ground and feet apart, and the short grasses closed above his head. All around him the daisies, who always enjoy a joke, were tittering and looking at him through the grass. Somewhere behind a huge fuzzy mullein plant was a great noise, like the motor of an aeroplane. It was the bumblebee, coming to see what was going on. "What's happened?" he boomed in his rolling bass voice. "That's what I'd like to know," replied the boy, picking himself up. "I never felt so small in my life. Not even when I tore my Sunday shirt and my great-aunt scolded me before everybody. Why, I'm no bigger than a seahorse." The daisies were still laughing, and now they could no longer contain themselves. "He ate fairy bread," they giggled, "and he grew as little as a balloon when the air goes out. Ho, 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 tee-hee-hee." "Ate fairy bread!" exclaimed Birdling. "Do you mean to say I'm a fairy now?" The bumblebee put his head on one side and deliberated. "No," he said slowly. "You are not a fairy. You're only fairy-ish. What's your name?" "I haven't any, but people call me Birdling." "Well, that's not so bad. What can you do?" "Nothing. Oh, yes, I can whistle." "Where will you live? You are too small to live with your great-aunt. She would surely step on you." Birdling looked around. There was a ground sparrow's nest. "Here," he said. "If nobody minds, I'll live here." So that is where he lived all summer. Everybody on the hill grew fond of him, and in the mornings when the robins sang to the sun, Birdling too would be up and whistling. But one day the bumblebee came to call. His face was serious and his voice unusually rumbly. It was a cool day, so Birdling was all wrapped in a mullein leaf. "It's autumn," said Bumble. "What will you do when winter comes?" "I don't know. What do the birds do?" "They go to the fairylands." "Mayn't I go?" "You aren't a bird or a fairy," objected the visitor. "But I'm fairy-ish, you know." "Then you may, I suppose." Birdling got up, ready to start at once. "How do the birds get there, Bumble?" "They fly." "But I can't fly." "Then you can't go." "But you said I could if I was fairy-ish." "No, I said you might. You may, but you can't. See?" Birdling shook his head. "Where are the fairy islands?" he asked. "Beyond the deep sea." "Could one go in a boat?" "Possibly." Then Birdling remembered the Little Dipper, lying forlorn on the sands, beyond the reaches of the tide. Perhaps some boy had picked her up, or perhaps the waves had taken her, or perhaps she was still in her harbor. Neatly he folded some mullein leaves, for sailors need warm clothes and blankets, and with these over his arm he began the long journey from the hilltop to the harbor. Thanks again, lovelies. That is the end of our story time today. Please like and subscribe to join me for part 4 of The Cruise of the Little Dipper, coming soon, and have a splendid day. Goodbye.